Hello, listeners, and welcome to our final episode in Season 2 of From Print to Podcast. I've got on my best green sweater and favorite gingerbread cookie earrings for our December episode as we celebrate the season of giving with a special segment all about the power of community and the difference we can make together. As we cozy up for the holidays, today's episode is about a local organization that's been brightening the season for families for 40 years, the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia. I'm excited to share more from our Holiday Issues feature on how RMHC is making sure families facing tough times can still feel the warmth of the holidays. So grab your hot cocoa, settle in, and join us as we talk about how RMHC is spreading a little extra holiday cheer this season. I am so excited to get into some holiday spirit today by diving into our episode that's all about giving back and the incredible impact of community. If you've ever wondered about the unsung heroes in our valley, today's episode will shine a light on one that's been serving families for 40 years. I'm so excited to welcome Montana Kimrey, the Donor and Community Relations Coordinator at Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome
Liz.
to the podcast. I'm excited to talk about all the great things you're doing for our community.
Me too.
So as we approach the holiday season, which we're right in the thick of it now in our December episode, a lot of us are thinking about family traditions, delicious meals, cozy moments at home. But for some, home during the holidays looks very different. And so, Montana, you're here to tell us how RMHC makes sure that families going through some of their toughest times of their lives can still experience the joy of the season no matter where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't know what RMHC does, we are a nonprofit, and our goal and mission is supporting families that are battling pediatric illness. So when a family has a sick kid and they have to get treatment for your kid because, your world stops when your kid gets sick. And so families that have to travel to the Roanoke Valley to get medical treatment for their child can stay at our house just 2 blocks from the hospital at no cost to them for as long as their families or their child is in the hospital.
So, what an amazing service.
Yeah, it's all about keeping families together. We believe when, one person in that family unit is sick, the whole family unit is sick.
Right.
And so we kind of step in and take care of them. And one of my favorite quotes from one of the girls that had stayed with us, 16-year-old girl named Mira, I'll never forget her, but she phrased it better than any marketer could ever. She said, when our world was falling apart and we were falling, RMHC stepped in and caught us, and that's exactly what we're meant to do. We catch people when they're falling, and when everything's falling apart, we're there to be that hug, to catch them, to hold them, to say, when everything else is, you feel like you have no control in it, we're gonna take a hold of you, and we're gonna make sure you're okay.
All right, well, Montana's gonna make me cry immediately off the segment. Haven't even gotten 2 minutes into it. That's terrific.
I have a lot of cries in the car, so
I bet.
It's a really, I love my job. I say I have the best job in the world, is getting to help these people through something that is, one of the most traumatic things for families and kids especially. And around the holiday time, it can be extremely difficult because, not only are you away from your support system, this is the time when everyone gets together and celebrates the holidays, and it's supposed to be a happy occasion. But when you're going through, childhood cancer treatments, or, you went into premature labor and you're giving birth, a month, 2 months, sometimes 3 months ahead of time, you stop whatever is going on in your life and you take care of your kid. And so, but being able to provide those things to those families, we do all different kinds of stuff at the holidays to kind of give families a sense of normalcy. We can't change what's going on over at the hospital, but we can give them a sense of normalcy, some kind of routine, and still the joys of the holidays. So we just finished up Thanksgiving dinner. We serve that not only to our families in the house, but we take it over to our family room over at the hospital and serve all families that are there. So that's something really cool we do for Thanksgiving. And then Christmas time is gearing up, where we've already got the whole house decorated. Junior League comes in every year and decorates the whole house. And then usually it's the first Sunday this year, because Sunday was December 1. We decided we decided to push it back a week. But we do something called Lights of Hope, and it's a event we invite the whole community out to, and Santa comes and visits us.
Obviously, you got to have Santa.
Exactly. And he's going to do milk and cookies with the kids this year, and then we go outside, sing some Christmas carols, and then light the Christmas tree. So that's kind of the start of the holiday season for us in terms of the house. And then usually, I guess next week, we'll start our Christmas shop is what we call it, or Santa's workshop. It has different names at the house. But pretty much what that is our downstairs area. We clear out all the furniture, and we set up tables and put all kinds of gifts and toys and things for mom and dad to give each other. And if you are a family staying at the house during the holiday season, you don't have time to Christmas shop.
Right. You have more important things to do.
You're at the hospital taking care of your kid.
Right.
And we acknowledge that, but we also want these families to still celebrate Christmas. So all of our families schedule a time. They get to go through the Christmas shop, pick whatever they want, however much they want,
That's
shop
awesome.
for the kids, shop for mom and dad, grandparents, uncles, whoever it is. Even if they may not be with us on Christmas Day, a lot of times that we'll go home on Christmas Eve. The hospital tries to discharge a lot of people to get them home to their families. But regardless, we want to make sure they're celebrating the holidays and have all the amenities that you would.
Right. Well, I love that you're providing that sense of normalcy, because obviously their lives have been disrupted in just the most chaotic kind of way.
Exactly.
And so you being able to provide that is really special. And the awesome thing is, so you've been doing this for 40 years, you personally, but the organization.
Yes.
And so you celebrated 40 years this year. Like, that's such an incredible milestone.
It is.
And I was curious if you could share a little bit about the organization, maybe how it's evolved over the years, what it means to reach this anniversary, because you didn't start out yesterday. You have full experience in so many ways of helping others.
Yeah, so the house in Roanoke has been here for 40 years. The organization as a whole has been here been around for 50 years. We were the 62nd house built, which, if that puts in perspective, just over a 10-year period, 60-some houses, blew up around the world in terms of, being that resource for families. So it was a huge need in a lot of communities. Our house was built as a Ronald McDonald house, has always been a Ronald McDonald house. It blends into the Crystal Springs area. It
really does.
If you don't know,
there, and it took half of our employees to be like, "Where is this? Where are we? Where's somebody's house?"
Yep.
And it's so funny that you say that.
It blends into the community, so which is a really cool asset. But you'll walk right by it if you don't know.
I know now. But.
Yeah, it's a huge house. But a lot has changed over the years in terms of, we had an addition where we had a huge dining room built and an industrial kitchen. That was back in the early 2000s.
The kitchen is awesome, by the way. We did a Taco Tuesday, and it was amazing. Like, you had everything. We didn't have to bring anything but the food. Yeah. And it was like, we don't even need utensils. I mean, you had everything ready to go for volunteers, which was amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what it's meant to be, is a house that has all of the things. So from, if someone runs out of deodorant, I'm running downstairs to grab them deodorant. And if it's something we don't have, we're going to go find it for people. Some people show up with quite literally a bathrobe on and slippers because that's what they hopped into the ambulance.
Yeah.
So getting them shoes and some clothes until someone else can bring their personal stuff.
That's such a good point. And I know we're kind of getting off the topic, but like, that's such a good point to think about. You're literally talking to some of people during one of the worst times of their life. I mean, it's not just you packed a bag and you're here at the hospital. I mean, you just mentioned you could talk to somebody who literally got in the ambulance at midnight and had no other choice but to just go.
Yeah, it's a lot of really tough situations, and you never know what is going to walk through those doors. And so having the empathy, you have to have that to work this kind of job, because, we all on our team get caught up in, the trying to raise the motions of trying to raise for a nonprofit and fundraise. And then we get a phone call of a family, and it's just a horrid situation you would have never want to ever hear about. And it brings you back down to earth and really humbles you and makes you realize how many blessings you have, and how blessed we are to just have our health, have our family, have each other. And it's definitely a passion project for me. It's a labor of love, so to speak. So to be able to step in and provide that for people, it's a miracle, truly. So
I get chills just thinking about it. Honestly,
me too.
I mean, I can tell how much you love your job and how much you appreciate being in your position to help other people. So that's really amazing. So of course, we're talking about RMHC going far beyond offering a place to stay. You've listed so many ways that you help others, and so you've talked about the holiday specific events. Talking about making the season a little brighter. Let's talk about what happens when that kid who the family has been taking care of that kid, they walk in, there must be some gratification, some real oh wow, they really went out of the way to make sure that we feel at home here.
Oh yeah. So especially, like you just said, more times than not, for us, a large portion of our demographic is NICU families. Mm-hmm. So the patient themselves is in an incubator over at the hospital. Mm-hmm. But more times than not, there's siblings involved, and those siblings are staying at the house. Sometimes the patient is staying at the house. So the house is almost always full of kids, especially in the summertime and around the holidays, where families try to keep the whole family unit together. So anytime we see a kid in the house, or one that's just gotten there or has had a really tough day, or is celebrating something happy like a birthday, or they're done with cancer treatments, we get to take them in this room called the Magic Room. And it's a room pretty much stocked with toys to the ceiling pretty much. And they get to come in there and pick any toy that they want. So it's a very simple gesture, but to give a kid that sometimes, got pulled away from their home, left everything that they had, they don't have any toys with them, to be thrown into this strange situation where their parents are often upset and not really focused on, them or, whatever the situation may be, to give them that piece of something that can be theirs, something that can create a happy memory for them, to maybe at least distract them from what the adult world that they've been cast into very suddenly. It's something really cool because you just see the light come back in, and it gives me chills thinking about it.
Well, and you're not just giving them a gift. I mean, that's a memory that they're probably going to have for the rest of their lives, knowing that somebody was there for them in that really tough moment, when their family's going through something difficult.
Yeah,
so
it's a priceless gift.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. You had mentioned that the Ronald McDonald House is about more than a house. So we were talking about our November-December issue when we did this feature. More than a house is the title of it. And so I was wondering if you could expand on what that means, especially during the holidays when families are dealing with so many situations.
Yeah, so it is a house. A lot of people, when I'm given tours and they see the rooms, they say, oh, this looks a lot like a really nice hotel. I'm like, yeah, but you also have to realize it's so much more than that to these people. It's a community of support. Everyone that's staying in the house has a sick kid. It may not be the same situation, but all those parents, all those grandparents, whatever the guardianship may look like, they have a sick kid. It's
a lot of interconnection there. Yeah. I mean, like you said, not the same situation, but they have something in common.
Exactly. So it's not uncommon for me to walk in, to the dining room to get a cup of coffee or something, and you just see two moms, or two people sitting together and just having a moment, and sometimes often crying it out, because you finally found someone that understands what you're going through. And to have that release and have that camaraderie and, companionship through something that's really tough, is, you can't put a price on that.
That's such a wonderful point, because like you said, your friends, your family might not be in the same situation, understand what you're going through, and this perfect stranger who you might never have met before in your life knows exactly what you're going through and exactly how you feel. There's a therapy in that, right?
Yeah.
Like to be able to talk to that person just about the situation.
For sure.
And you're probably creating, again, in some instances, lifelong friendships because they've been there for each other and been through a situation, and now they will never be out of each other's lives.
Exactly. And that's often how it works. These people, become connected, and they go back home to, wherever they call home. But they always have that friend, that they can call up, and we all the time hear of reunions of people coming back together.
I was curious about if you've got some of the stories that, long after the fact, long after that their child, their family has healed, and, you're able to kind of hear about their hangings out.
Yeah. I mean, all the time we have families come back to us just because that place has become a place of solace for so many people. I mean, at our 40th birthday, we had the Ollingers, which were a family that stayed with us more than 20 years ago now. Their twin boys are grown. They're probably pretty close to my age, which is crazy to think about.
That, though.
So it's really cool, as a young person in this community, to see the impact this place, that long-term impact, that this place has had, for people for decades. And we say we've been here for 40 years, and we're looking forward to the next 40 years.
At least, right?
Yeah, at least.
Well, and talking about that, you're part of the community. You I mean, like you said, you're part of that fabric of Crystal Spring, where you walk by and you don't even realize you're walking by it, because it's just so integral to the landscape. And so you'd mentioned again the holidays. You've got the tree lighting and the caroling. I mean, that is just, I want to go do that just because. But so in thinking about how these events lift the spirits of the families, the community can be part of that. You mentioned that some of these events are open to the public. Curious about how the community can get involved and support you throughout the year, not just this time of year, but throughout the year, but certainly this time of year while we're in this middle of the December episode.
Yeah, so I always tell people, there's 3 ways you can give back: your time, your talent, and your treasure. Call it the 3 T's. It's easy to remember.
I like it.
Of course, your time, coming and volunteering, coming and cooking a meal. If you don't know, we serve a hot meal every single night to our families, which is a really cool thing.
And the kitchen is amazing. You don't have to bring utensils. Exactly. You just got to bring all your stuff, and it's great. All the food, you're good to go.
And a lot of people love to, bring a family group, bring a group of friends, bring your, coworkers, and do a team building exercise. And then you're also giving back to a community, because nothing's better than a home cooked warm meal after you've been at the hospital all day. So,
or you're on the road all the time eating fast food, just trying to get from one space to another.
Exactly. So it's a really cool thing we can offer to our families, and we couldn't do it without community support and community involvement. That is a huge way to get involved. There's always different kinds of ways to volunteer, in terms of if you like to clean. If you like to clean, please come clean the house. It's a 25,000 square foot house. It's massive.
Huge.
So we need a lot of hands on deck.
We were just in that small space, 25,000 feet. Oh my gosh.
It's huge.
Man.
We have a huge ground, so if you like to garden, if you like to do outside stuff, we always are in need of extra hands to do that.
I love that, though. If you have a particular interest, you can still, make a difference.
I always tell people, whatever your passion is, come to me and say, hey, I want to help. This is what I like to do.
You'll find a space for
I'm going to find you something you like to do. Because we want you to enjoy your time and feel like you're doing something meaningful. So volunteering is a huge way. If you have a talent, like you said, utilizing your talents, but also being an advocate for us out in the community. There's so many nonprofits, wonderful nonprofits in the Roanoke Valley. But I feel like the Ronald McDonald House has gone kind of under the radar for a very long time in this community. It's done a lot, but it kind of lays low, and a lot of people,
because you're hitting so well in the neighborhood.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know we have one here in the Roanoke Valley. I mean, most RMHCs are in Atlanta's or Charlotte's, Richmond's. You think the big cities, but to have an organization like this in our valley is truly a gem. So just being an advocate, talking about us. We also, a way you can help us pull the little tab tops off of like drink cans and soda cans and soups and cat food and all different kinds of stuff. We collect those. You can bring them to the house, and then we eventually take them to a metal recycling place and get the money for that.
That's easy.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a free way to do to give back and be involved.
You've already got the soda in your house. Just collect those little tabs.
Oh yeah,
love it.
It gives you a reason to talk about the house. So when you're at a party or a gathering and you're pulling all the little can tops off of the soda cans, people are like, "What in the world is that crazy lady doing?" But it gives you a reason to talk about the house and what we do and who we are. Because a lot of people, if they do know about us, know that we do something good for kids, but don't know exactly what that place does or the extent of it.
Right. I mean, you have a full, all-encompassing opportunity to, really be part of that. Yeah. And I'm a little interested in, so, I'm sure that the hospital will recommend you or recommend a family to you, as often as they can. If a family is looking in need and they're not sure where to start and how to find you, what are some good recommendations for them how would I tell somebody how to look for you and seek your services?
Yeah, so I always tell people, if you think you could be eligible to stay with us, go talk to your doctor, your social worker, your nurses. Those are going to be your advocates to make the referral on the behalf of the family. So If you have one of those people and you're in contact with them, they'll know you're eligible. They can make the referral on your behalf to us, and then we set a check-in time for you to check in. It's pretty simple.
You make it sound real easy.
It really is. So,
easier than checking into a hotel, I think.
Yeah. So, and then if your doctor or social worker has never heard of us, we'll fill them in on the details. We try to take a lot of the stress off of the people because they're already going through so much. So we work a lot with our healthcare professionals to make sure they know who is eligible, and we're trying to constantly get as many people because there's people out there that are going to be eligible.
Right.
We just want to make them knowledgeable about the resources that are available to them. We don't ever want anyone to be sleeping on a hospital floor or a waiting room bench or eating out of vending machines if, we can be able to help them.
I love how thoughtful you are when it comes to the families who are going through a really difficult situation. You're really trying to think about every level of need that they might have. Even if they don't need it, it's available to them, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, for anybody who's thinking about donating this holiday season or participating, time, treasure, all the T's. Let's talk about how their contribution makes a difference for these families. I know you touched on that a little bit, but really, they're going through difficult times. What does it mean to them to have a community they might not necessarily be a part of? I mean, that's got to be a real ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to just have a place that they can call home when they're probably thousands, hundreds of miles at least away from home. Like you said, you can't put a price tag on that. And for us to run and keep the lights on, the water running, every year, at least this year, it's a $1.2 million expense for us. That's our budget this year. And to be able to do that at no cost to families is
amazing.
It's amazing, And, we have 18 bedrooms in our house, so we're constantly having about 18 families in the house. So I think it's pretty good to have 18 families year round and run it on that kind of budget. We're a very tight ship. Like I said, you got to love what you do to be a part of that organization. So,
well, that's amazing. And what do you think the furthest somebody has traveled to be part of our community here? I know you said that we've got Ronald McDonald Charities, all over, but certainly with Carilion and Lewis Gale and our healthcare systems here, they're probably coming from pretty far away in some instances.
Yeah, immediately. Actually, that little girl, I say little girl, that young woman, 16-year-old little Mira, she came all the way from Germany. Which is crazy.
Okay, well, you just beat out any suggestion. I really was going to guess that. Okay.
For me, that's definitely the longest one I can remember. She was, again, this is just how life goes. She was here visiting. A 15-year-old girl flew all the way from Germany to, I think it was Ohio, to visit her sister. And her sister and her brother-in-law drove down to West Virginia to do some mountain biking, and while they were biking, Mira fell off, and she had internal bleeding. They took her to Pocahontas Hospital. They couldn't do what they needed to do to help her there, and so they flew her into Carilion. And so she went from Germany to Ohio to West Virginia to Roanoke, Virginia.
Poor little girl woke up and had no idea where she was.
Exactly. So, obviously her parents flew in from Germany. They didn't speak a whole lot of English, so I don't speak German, so it was a lot.
You don't have that in your back pocket?
It was a lot of Google Translate and using our translating services, so that was definitely the longest person longest distance.
But what an amazing, but you noted, she wasn't just visiting Roanoke from Germany, right? She started out somewhere completely different, so I do find that extremely interesting that, again, she didn't fly directly here. She was somewhere else, and she ended up coming here because of the healthcare system.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people don't know. Carilion Memorial is the only level 1 trauma hospital within at least 100 miles, especially if you're going west towards West Virginia. So we have people from all over the place, but a lot of them come from Western Virginia or West Virginia,
right?
Because they just don't have the amenities and the services, unfortunately, to offer the kind of health care that a lot of people need.
I didn't want to make the assumption that it's all from the rural areas, because obviously we're going to get plenty of that just in general every day. So that's kind of fascinating in a awkward sort of way.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard about this, but if you don't know, we're getting a new cancer center here in Roanoke too, which that's probably in the next 5 to 10 years.
You better add on to your 25 your square feet there.
No, and it's gonna. We were just talking about it today. It's gonna change our demographic by a huge amount. You know, it's not going to change the people we're serving now.
Right.
It's just going to add on to it.
Right. This is not substituting. This is adding on.
Exactly. And so to have the amenities for that specific kind of demographic too is going to be, it's a different ballgame. Where with NICU families, the patients in the hospital in an incubator, you're just housing the family and the siblings usually. With oncology patients, more times than not, and unless it's a very serious situation, the patient's going to be staying with the family in the house. More times than not, they have compromised immune systems. Right. They need to be isolated. They can't use or be exposed to communal spaces as often. So we've talked about a lot of solutions to that problem because all of our stuff is pretty much communal based right now. So there's a lot of ideas floating around, and probably going to be a capital campaign coming in the next couple of years to just build something completely new to be able to have the foresight to prepare for this, because it's coming whether we like it or not.
Well, and I hope that you and your team, view that as an exciting opportunity.
It is.
It's going to be a lot of work, but you guys are clearly not afraid of that.
No, not at all. It's going to be a lot of work, but again, it's a labor of love, and to be able to help a whole nother demographic of people, some that are really, really tough situations that need it. I'm excited to be able to be that resource for them. That's what we do every single day, and to be able to help more families and help them better, that's what we aim to do.
So the Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia, that's a mouthful.
I know.
So it's part of a larger network, obviously. You mentioned that they have reached their 50th anniversary. We're celebrating 52, so it is a huge monumental occasion. We totally appreciate the hard work that goes into 50 years of your labor of love. How does that network of support help you, your particular Southwest Virginia spot, continue to grow and improve the services that it offers? Because you guys offer so much. You've barely scratched the surface, I feel like. I know.
Yeah. So each Ronald McDonald House functions as an independent nonprofit.
Okay.
They have their own board of directors, make their own decisions, have their own budget to fund every year, and have those responsibilities.
I imagine there are pros and cons to that. You can do your own thing. You can make sure that you're on your own schedule and not dealing with everybody else's, but...
Yeah, you still have a lot of responsibility to take it on. The global aspect of being that, part of a greater thing is a really cool resource that not a lot of nonprofits have. I feel like it's a pretty rare thing. We get all of the training, the resources, the knowledge, the interconnectivity of having that global connection. So I can call up a house in, somewhere in Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida, and say, hey, I have this issue. Are you guys having this issue? Can we problem solve this together? To have that support and, vast tome of knowledge.
I love that.
Which is really cool that not a lot of other, nonprofits have the ability to do, which is really cool. Global helps us with a lot of things. Branding is one of them. You see those arches in the distance. I'm going to think about you every time now. Exactly. So to be able to have that connection to McDonald's has been priceless for us. A lot of people think that because it's got McDonald's name in it, that McDonald's funds the entire thing. Right. Which is just not true. I imagine that's a very common misconception. Yeah. One entity can't ever do it all. They've got to take care of their employees and their people too. But that being said, they do so much for us in terms of support. They do 10% on Happy Meals for a week. They do a penny across the board on Happy Meals for the entire year. When you're serving a billion French fries, that adds up. Yeah, it does. It does. 25 cents on the Shamrock Shakes. So throughout the Shamrock Shake season. I know how popular those are. Yes. And then you can always round up your total at McDonald's when you go and say, order a cheeseburger and your total's $3.50. You can round up to $4, give that extra 50 cents, and all of that money actually goes to your local Ronald McDonald House, which is really, really cool. A lot of people think it goes into some big pot, you know, and it maybe trickles down to local places, and that's just not true. All of that goes to your local organization and stays local.
Great. Thank you for teaching me something new. I did not know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know, and I get up on my soapbox about that.
This is your soapbox. Stand
truly,
up. Let's go.
thank you. So there's a lot of ways our McDonald's partners, you know, they're coming to our golf tournaments. They're supporting us. And we are so blessed to have that partnership with this organization, because, you know, we couldn't do it without them, you know, to be able to serve this amount and the quality of the service that we provide to our families. We couldn't do it without the support of not only McDonald's, but people out in the community, you know, church groups, individuals, businesses. When we say it takes a village, it does. It takes everybody's involvement. And, you know, nonprofits in general, I think, are all facing some of the same issues in terms of giving is down. You know, people are going through hard times, and we recognize that. And to be able to, or to try to ask someone, you know, to give monetarily when they're already suffering through financial hardships, we get it, we do. But also at the same time, we have to do what we can to keep our doors open. So getting creative with fundraising is definitely something our team has done over the years. We do events. Well,
let's talk about that. Not to put you on the spot again. So this is our December episode. I know we've talked about a lot of the amazing holiday stuff that you're doing, which is very apropos for this. But you're doing events throughout the year. And so, again, without trying to, put you on the spot last minute, but what are some other maybe annual events or maybe upcoming events in the spring that we can think about preparing for? Because again, you've talked about, you know, treasure. And so maybe even if I couldn't do a monetary donation, I can donate my time and be available at something that you've got coming up.
Yeah. So we do a lot of events throughout the year. One of my favorite ones, it used to be in the fall, but this year we're moving it to the spring. It's called Handbag Hullabaloo.
You have my attention.
Yes. So it's a game styled event, kind of more framed towards women in the valley. You know, men get the golf tournaments and always have kind of, you know, the sports themed events. We wanted to do something specific for women in the valley and have like a little girls' night out type thing. So the event, you buy a ticket to it, and when you come, you get a booklet, and it has, I think, 8 or 9 different pages in it, and each page has a picture of a handbag on it. And the handbag has words on it, and it's kind of divided into sections. And then, you know, once the game starts, it's pretty much a word is pulled out of a raffle drum. If you have the word on your card, you color it in, and once you fill up your handbag, you yell hullabaloo, and then you get to come to the front, and then the first 3 people, we put their names in a hat and do a reverse raffle. So the first 2 get one of our consolation bags, and then the last person standing gets the high-end handbag.
This is way more fun than bingo. Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, it's super, super fun, and we've done it, I guess, 2 years now, and both years have been an absolute hoot.
I was about to say, I bet it gets real competitive in there.
Yeah. People, the ladies get a little wild. So, and then we serve heavy hors d'oeuvres, and we have our online auction stuff in the back, so you can, you know, kind of shop that.
So if you don't get the handbag.
And bet on stuff, so it's a great way for us to fundraise.
Yeah,
again,
I love that.
A great way to treat a woman in your life. Christmas is coming up. Valentine's is coming up. Great gift to give your wife and her friends, and just kind of send her on her way to go get a handbag.
Save golf for yourself for later.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then on to that, we have 2 golf tournaments we do. We do one at Roanoker Country Club, and we do one kind of over towards the lake. We're still kind of working on the location for that. Probably going to be a waterfront.
Plenty of beautiful property out there to play.
Yeah. So those 2 golf tournaments, they're a lot of fun. I think we sold out both of them last year. Awesome. So they go pretty quick. It's a long day, but we serve meals at both of them, and it's a beautiful, beautiful courses, both of them. So if you have buddies that like to golf, or if you have a business that likes to put in golf tournaments, that's definitely a great opportunity. And then we also do one more signature event throughout the year. It's called Run for Donuts.
I've done this one.
Yes. This one's usually the first Saturday in November. And it's a 5K or a fun run. You don't have to run the 5K.
Yeah, I didn't run. I'm going to be real honest with you. There was no running involved for me.
No, me either. Not a runner. But you come out and run the race, and then you get a Krispy Kreme donut after. And
that's how I want to run. Like, that's the best way to do a marathon.
Yeah,
like,
it's not one of those where you have to like eat the dozen and then go run. That sounds like not fun. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. People dress up, like donuts or, all different kinds of stuff, festivities. And we have a lot of Muggsy always comes out and different mascots. So it's a lot of fun. It's an early morning.
That's all right. Roanokers aren't afraid of that, especially if there's running and donuts involved. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I'm a little afraid of that, but listen, I'll do it for the kids.
Yeah, there you go.
And again, all of these events go to support a great cause and give back to people that are going through one of their hardest times.
Right.
One other cool thing we do is we call them our Rocketees. They're t-shirts we do every single year. I should have worn mine today, but it's a short.
It's 20 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's a short sleeve t-shirt, so I would have needed a couple of coats probably. But we usually sell them, I guess, like starting around April. We haven't come up with our design for the next year. This year we did a Friends themed one. It said the one where we turn 40, and
love it.
And it was blue tie-dye. It was beautiful. But you can purchase a t-shirt and support the house. And then we encourage people to wear them every first Friday for the entire year. And you can wear a past t-shirt. You can wear the current year's t-shirt. But it's all about spreading awareness, and people see your shirt and are instantly reminded about the house, what we do, how important it is. And it's a great fun way to rock your shirt and rock the house.
I love that. Okay, so mark your calendars, because there's plenty of things coming up throughout the year that you can support. Even if you can't do one, there's like 17 more on the way.
Exactly.
I love that. And so you had mentioned a little bit earlier, you mentioned Junior League. And so I'm sure that there's collaboration amongst some of the organizations, other groups that are helping. If you want to give a shout out, here's a perfect opportunity. Junior League does so much, so I'm not at all surprised they'd be on your top of your list.
Yeah, they were actually influential in the start of the house, and the creation of the house. So Junior League is one of our favorite partners, Branch and Roberts and Morton. They do so much for us. I mean, the list goes on and on. Hokey Way, we were just meeting with them. The athletes over at Virginia Tag do a lot for us. There's so many people. Like this podcast would be 3 hours long if I read the entire list.
Well, I'll spare our listeners for that.
But it's you can always go on our website, looking at our events. Our sponsors are all over that. And if you have a business that wants to give back to a great organization and, give back to the community and show the community that, they've got a heart and they want to do something good. Right. Sponsoring is always a great way to do that.
Right.
So,
well, I love that. It's a great opportunity for everybody, no matter, again, your church, your organization, your company, whatever it is. You've got lots of opportunity there.
Absolutely.
So before we wrap up, I know you're obviously like a key player at RMHC, my goodness. But I have to ask, as far as maybe we're in the holiday zone, what is your favorite way to spend the holidays with your family? It doesn't have to be necessarily related to RMHC, because you spend a lot of time there, but you can name that obviously if you want.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm pretty easy to please. I feel like I'm constantly running around doing so much for the house, and it's a labor of love, and I love doing that. When I'm at home with my family, I think I just like to snuggle up on the couch, watch a Christmas movie, read a book, listen to music, play games.
I was just telling coworker I'm ready for hot chocolate bombs. Like, it's going to be,
Me too. I'm a big Christmas music person.
Okay.
I love Christmas.
All right.
My Christmas tree has been up in my house since November 1.
Oh, you're hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Mariah's got nothing on you.
Halloween goes up, Christmas comes out.
Poor little Thanksgiving.
Listen, it's fine. It gets incorporated in there. If I'm going to do all the work to set up Christmas, it's got to be enjoyed for at least 2.5 months.
Yeah, 60 days or more.
Yeah. So I actually bought my house, the house I'm in. I bought a house. Praise the Lord.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I bought a house in October of last year. I had no furniture, didn't even have a bed frame, but I went to Lowe's and bought a Christmas tree and put that up in my house.
Priorities, obviously.
Truly.
I love a girl with priorities. It's
yes,
good.
Absolutely.
That's perfect. And so real quick, I know that we're talking about the organization, but I want to talk about you for a hot minute, and I'll explain why here when we get towards the end. But a little bit about you. Are you from this area?
I'm not. I'm actually from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
I moved to Roanoke, about 3 years ago.
Was it for Ronald McDonald for your job? Or?
No, I actually moved here. The guy I was seeing at the time was doing residency at Carillion, and me and him are still good friends, and things didn't work out between us, but I fell in love with this area, and it's a gym, and you know, I just wanted to get out of the chaos of Charlotte and the people.
Traffic.
Yeah, traffic. People say traffic, and I'm like, there is no traffic around here. What are you talking about?
Maybe at Valley View around now, but you know.
But it's beautiful. The nature's beautiful. You still have, you know, the southern hospitality. The food's great. The people are great. It's just a wonderful place to be. You know, nonprofit has always been something I wanted to do. Just because the nature of it is so fulfilling.
Your heart is clearly all in.
Yeah, you have to be. And so to be in a community that is so supported by nonprofits, I kind of just immediately felt at home here. So I came here and said I would never leave. So I put down roots, and once I got this job, I was like, I'm chilling. This is the dream.
I think we're quite lucky in that way.
Well,
so thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. It's a real treasure to hear you speak about it.
It's my pleasure.
I see you light up, and it's really something. It gives me chills to know that there are hardworking people like you making such an incredible difference in our community every day, and not just our community, but the ripple effect again that you're impacting people in Germany, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean it's all over the place, and I'm thankful for the other people, my team, because it's not just me. There are so many people. I mean, there's 5-6 of us at RMHC that do it all. And it's
small but mighty crew.
Yeah, and a lot of them, you know, they kind of work behind the scenes. I'm more in,
podcasting.
Yeah, they don't like to talk and don't like to be on the public eye, so I say I'll do all that. And but to really shout them out and say thank you for all the hard work that they do. Shannon, our executive director, Jeannie, our development director, Terry's our special events coordinator. God bless her, and she does a lot.
You just listed a bunch of events. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, God bless her. And then Stephanie, our house program director, and then we're getting ready to bring on a couple new people, so I'm excited for that. So more manpower means we can do more things.
Yeah.
So
2025 is looking bright for you guys.
It's looking really, really bright for us.
Good.
So I'm excited and very blessed.
Good. Well, thank you for joining us today, Montana. It's been such a pleasure having you and learning more about it. I was so pleased to read about it in the magazine, and then to be able to bring you on and just to hear and to see your passion as you talk about it is truly inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Anytime. You come back anytime. And again, it's been wonderful to hear about so many heartwarming things happening RMHC this holiday season. So again, for anyone who would like to help, please be sure to check out the RMHC Southwest Virginia website. We'll list that on our website. It's going to be a mouthful when I repeat it here. So we're going to have it over where our podcast episode lives for sure, as well as our YouTube channel, that you can contribute to their drives, volunteer your time. What were the 3 T's again?
Your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Love it. And so be sure to stay connected with them on social media to follow all of their magical moments throughout the season and, of course, throughout the year. So that website, you can learn more at rmhc-swva.org. Again, we will list that on our website. I know it's a little bit of a mouthful, but that's okay. So easy clicking over there. And you can read more about Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia and the great work they do, plus all the latest updates in the Roanoker. You should also stay tuned for our upcoming Jan-Feb issue, highlighting our 40 under 40 as nominated by readers because, surprise, Montana Kimrey made our list in the class of 2025. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Seeing all the work that you do, it is such an easy thing to put you on that list. It is not a problem.
Well, I'm very humbled and honored to be on it. And like I said, it's a labor of love, and I love my job, and I'm very blessed.
Well, Roanoke is lucky to have you, lucky to have Ronald McDonald House Charities, lucky for you to be part of this conversation and community. Thank you.
A big thank you to Montana Kimrey for sharing how Ronald McDonald House Charities of Southwest Virginia is helping families experience hope and comfort this holiday season. As we wrap up this second season of From Print to Podcast, I'd like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all the businesses, nonprofits, organizations, and restaurants we've had the pleasure of interviewing. From spotlighting local heroes to cheerleading our amazing community, it's been such a joy to bring you nearly 30 incredible interviews just in this podcast. We can't wait to kick off Season 3 with even more local stories and inspiring voices. Stay tuned for what's next in 2025, including our 40 under 40 class of 2025, how your neighbors are improving our community one day at a time, favorite seasonal events, and so much more. Thanks for joining us, and remember to subscribe so you never miss an episode. In the meantime, pick up the latest issue of the Roanoker on newsstands now, or head over to theroanoker.com. See you in Season 3, where print comes to life one great story at a time.